Here is John Frankie Hires from Jefferson Parish.
John Frankie Hires, 509 Humboldt Boulevard, traveling from Jefferson Parish because the second most populated parish with over 440,000 people contributing the most sales tax revenue to the state can't get a meeting. I'm expected to go to Orleans during Bowl Week. Anybody want to put a wager on how many Jefferson Parish citizens are going to travel to Orleans Parish to do a meeting during Bowl Week? Only two reasons we go to Orleans, and that's to go to Saints game or drop off one of our tourist friends to the French Quarter. I'm a Jeffersonian Republican, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of them. On every question of its construction, let us carry ourselves back to the time when the Constitution was adopted, recollect the spirit in which it was manifested, and rather than squeeze from the text or invent against it, conform to the probable one in which it was passed. In questions of power, then, the distribution of power, let no more be heard about the competence of man. I have none. But bind him down from mischief through the chains of a constitution. We have one. I've yet to find anybody that's willing to explain the following phrase to me. Y'all said it. Everybody wants to bear lip service to some sense of fairness or equality. Those are arbitrary. We have a constitution so we don't have to rely upon y'all for redistricting. Apportionment should follow principles. It is the principle by which we are supposed to be directly taxed and representatives. The only reason we formed a union was because we could figure out that we didn't want to be arbitrarily taxed. We didn't want to suffer to virtual representation. The doctrine of virtual representation has been discussed and resolved. It was a revolutionary war. I know no safe depositor of the ultimate power of society but the people themselves. And if we think them not enlightened enough to exercise their control with a wholesome discretion, the remedy is not to take it from them and put it in the hands of commission or even legislators. No, the remedy is not to take it from them, but to inform their discretions by education. This is true corrective abuses of constitutional power. The phrase is simple, and if anybody wants to explain it to me, I won't have to come to the next 3 meetings, right? Representatives shall be apportioned among the several parishes according to their respective numbers. Every parish should have one, none more than some ratio. As far as the Senate goes, we don't even need one. It's redundant. We could add that to the representatives. However, if we haven't obliged you or nobody feels compelled, right, or has endeavored to comprehend the document that everyone in here at that side, myself included, has sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution, I've done so. That's why I'm here. I'm compelled to. But if we haven't compelled you to understand the document, how could we hold any faith that you'll live up to that oath? Sadly, these principles were abandoned so long ago that none of you could know. Once in a lifetime, it's been 180 years since the federal government observed principled representation. We've been arbitrary completely since 1872. Nevada is admitted to the Union with 43,000 people. California has over 500,000. Nevada is gifted half the power. In Louisiana, we have 50-something parishes that share representation among other parishes. You're serving more than one master, you can't get it done. That's called virtual representation. We had a revolution over it. In his advice to George Washington at the first enumeration, he says, the Constitution declares the representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned. That's important. Direct taxes are income or property taxes. If you have it or do it and we tax it, that's a direct tax. Nobody knows what it is. Challenge your favorite accountant. The reason why we don't know is because it was abandoned. The concept was abandoned in 1916 as a result of the robber baron era. We said, eat the rich. Unfortunately, rich then ended up pitted against the poor because everybody's arbitrarily taxed, just as we're arbitrarily represented. Without explaining any principle at all, he says, to show the conformity or guide for future apportionments, right? We're not supposed to have to debate this except maybe the ratio itself. We put the cart before the horse by declaring that we're going to have no more than 105 representatives, no more than 39 senators, not one person in this room, I guarantee you, will explain to me how the numbers 105 or 39 bear any respect to the 64 parishes, the number 64, that we all live in. No devotion to all of our good intentions can unpave this road to its inevitable destination. Consider principled representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, James K. Harlan from Covington.
Yes, I'm Jim Harlan from Covington. I bring a perspective both as a congressional candidate who ran in the 1st Congressional District in 2008, when that congressional district was comprised of St. Tammany, all of Tangipahoa, and then basically Jefferson Parish. And the North Shore is a different community than New Orleans and its Jefferson Parish suburb. I would echo the fact that it's incredible that a process of this importance is not having a meeting in the second or first largest parish in the state, which is much different than New Orleans. That's a mistake. But I will note, and this is based on my own experience running for Congress in 2008, when one of the opponents of Scalise in the Republican primary gave me data that said that 94% of people on the North Shore wanted a congressperson from the North Shore. That's one of the reasons I ran.